I took a trip to the ex-murder capital of the world. In 2015, the tiny Central American country of El Salvador experienced more than 100 murders per 100,000 citizens. But in 2019, a controversial new president was elected to power. He's gained the love and the affection of the people by sending gang members to jail en masse. His name is Nayib Bukele, and he is effectively a benevolent dictator. Thankfully, it seems as if he is using his power for good, and that the days of El Salvador's murderous history look to be behind them. By 2022, the murders per capita plummeted all the way down to 8 per 100,000 people, not only making El Salvador a safe place to live, but also making it a safe place for tourists like you and me to come and visit. So if it's safe, then the new question becomes, is it worth it to take the trip? Are there things to do? Are the people nice? Does anyone speak English? And most importantly, how is the food? I want to help you find out. I'll be walking you through highlights from my trip and be giving you important information about what to expect so that you can make a decision for yourself. Bienvenidos a San Salvador, the capital city of El Salvador. This is Carlos. Carlos was my Uber driver. I first hired him to take me from my hotel to the historic center of town. He couldn't believe that he found an American that speaks Spanish. Buenos días, ¿cómo está? He had so many questions for me about everything, and he gave me his number so that I could book him directly and we could continue chatting next time I needed a ride. Many big cities in Latin America have a historic center similar to this one. Churches, government buildings, a plaza. Oftentimes you'll find a large group of pigeons searching for some free food. There is a big church right in the middle of the square called Catedral Metropolitana, and it's pretty in the way that most churches are pretty. I stopped in to look around for a bit. Yeah, this is a church. It's fine, it's nice. What I didn't expect was to stumble onto a second church that was maybe the most beautiful that I had ever seen in my entire life. It's called Iglesia El Rosario, or in English, Church of the Rosary. The outside, it's kind of ugly actually. It's just gray and cement. The entrance is hard to find. It's closed a lot of the time to visitors, but if you do get inside, you will see some of the most beautiful architecture you will ever find in a church.
And I think it's what's inside that really counts.
No matter your religion, if you visit El Salvador, it is worth it to visit the capital just to have this moment. Pupusas! The most iconic Salvadoran food is the pupusa. It's pretty much a thick corn or rice tortilla filled with cheese and whatever else you want to put inside it. Beans, meat, chicharrones, loroco, it's all fair game. Don't get the loroco though. It's not very good, sorry. What are good though are likes and subscribes, so if you don't mind, please go ahead and tap those buttons right now. It would mean the world to me. Thanks a million. The pupusa is sort of like a mini quesadilla, except easier to eat and more portable. The street food culture in all of Central America can't be beat, but in El Salvador, you will specifically find pupuserias on almost every block. They are so proud of these, and they should be. They slap. You should also know that everything is super cheap in El Salvador. They've adopted the US dollar as their national currency. You can get an entire meal like this one for less than $5. An Uber with Carlos all the way across town is only going to run you about $5, and a pretty good hotel room is only going to cost you $30 to $50 per night, so you really do get a lot of bang for your buck. The Picnic Steakhouse. If you want to break from street food and are looking for some higher end sit-down restaurants, in my experience, El Salvador has some of the best in all of Central America. Yes, that's even including Mexico. The one restaurant that every tourist has to visit is the Picnic Steakhouse. Why? Because of this. Why does an outdoor steakhouse have a large, high-speed rainbow slide overlooking the city? Why do they have a large-scale gingerbread man replica from Shrek? Why do they have rainbow-colored candy canes sticking out of the ground? No one knows.
I don't really question it.
So I got steak and jumbo shrimp. I don't actually like shrimp, but I embarrassingly couldn't remember the name for shrimp in Spanish, and so I ordered the carne con camarones, and camarones means shrimp. It's shrimp. Thankfully, it was all delicious. The food is definitely more expensive than elsewhere in El Salvador, but still cheap compared to the United States. This whole surf and turf plate with great guac and amazing beans was just $22. The real reason you come here though is for this slide. It's so fun, I didn't even care that it was a tourist trap. You fly down this hill. It's exhilarating. They literally make you sign a release of liability before you go down, which, yeah, that should be concerning maybe. You also can't miss the avocado toast from La Tostada Tostaderia near the Modern Art Museum in the fancy high-end neighborhood of Escalon. It was one of the best things I've ever eaten. You can really taste the difference with how fresh the avocado is in Central America. Dip that in some spicy oil. And I gotta mention the steak sandwich I had from El Lomo y la Aguja. If you've watched my other videos, you know I'm a big stickler for fresh and soft bread on my sandwiches, and this bread was a dream come true. Is it the perfect bread?
Or just eat it all the time without even stopping.
La Puerta del Diablo. If you go to El Salvador right now, you will see firsthand how much everything is changing. In certain parts of the city, there were, no joke, 50 or more people actively working on construction. I had no problem with that until I tried to go to 2 major tourist sites in the region. I had Carlos pick me up and take me to one of them, La Puerta del Diablo, the Devil's Door, with gorgeous views overlooking the countryside. But right now you can't see it. It is closed for renovations and improvements. And Parque Nacional El Bocaron, a place where you can see an actual volcano crater, is closed for renovations right now as well. But you know who came to the rescue? Carlos. I was bummed, but the thing about Carlos is he loves his country, and he did not want me to leave with a bad taste in my mouth. So he took me for ice cream. Yeah. He literally drove me to his favorite ice cream spot and bought me a banana split, peanuts and all. I know it sounds made up, but I swear this is true. As we ate, he told me how much he wants me to come back and also to bring all of my friends so that me and all the other Americans can experience his homeland. He also brought up twice that it is his dream to visit an aquarium one day. So I showed him some pictures that I had taken at the Atlanta Aquarium, which is the biggest aquarium in the United States. And he couldn't stop smiling, looking at all the sharks and the whales and the albino alligators. I was a little emotional. It really was a moment where I had to stop and acknowledge what a privilege it is to get to travel in the first place, to have a strong passport, to have the finances to be able to fly and book hotels. I've been to so many aquariums, and I never think twice about it, let alone the fact that I'm looking at sharks and whales and that I'm living the dream of an Uber driver in Central America. Before he took me to the airport to go home, Carlos brought me to another lookout spot. Not quite La Puerta del Diablo, but it's a space that the locals know about. His spot. And the view was just as gorgeous. So is it worth it to visit El Salvador with all this going on? The dictator, the construction, the change. You will find more developed places, for sure. And maybe it's not for everyone. But a woman in town told me that I was the first person that she ever spoke to from another country. Not just the first American, the first person from any other country. And that is gonna stick with me for a while.